Welcome everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with the iPhone 13 Pro Max after a year worth of use. So I have been daily driving the iPhone 13 Pro Max because iPhone has always been my daily driver ever since the iPhone 10. And every now and again, I had to make this my secondary device whenever new phones came out or something, and I had to try them out for a week or two. Even then, this was still my secondary device and I was interacting using it on a daily basis. I will give you a rundown of all the ups and downs I had with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, so let's get started. The display of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, as you know, it's not locked into 60 Hz. The 13 Pro Max comes in with a variable refresh rate of 120 Hz, and depending on what you're doing on the screen, it goes from anywhere between, I think, 1 Hz or 10 Hz to up to 120 Hz. Comparing it to the recent purchase that I did with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, it is not as bright as the Z Fold 4 when it's outdoors, but the iPhone 14 Pro Max is gonna solve that because currently it's going to have the highest nits on any smartphones out there, which is gonna be the 2000 nits. Coming back to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, the display on it has been amazing for out and about use whenever, like if I ever had to use Uber when I was out, needed to use Maps during sunny day. It has not been that big of a deal, but definitely it could be brighter in terms of usability outside. And coming to the camera for the iPhone, nobody can question it. It's amazing. The colors are natural. It's not overly saturated. When you're taking videos or photos in app like Instagram or Snapchat, it doesn't look choppy. It doesn't look bad compared to, like Samsung obviously has great camera when it comes to taking photo. But when you want to take the photo in app, Instagram or Snapchat, it's gonna be different to what the stock camera gives you on Samsung. But in iPhone, like the difference is not as much. It's still a better photo depending on the lighting situation and everything. But generally speaking, in-app camera from the iPhone is better when it comes to the results compared to Samsung or any other phone out there. When it comes to video recording or shooting video with your iPhone, it looks much better and natural in my opinion. And again, depending on who you may ask, it may vary, but majority of the people will say that the video is better in iPhone. And I am someone who has experienced Android phones as well as the iPhone. And even when I compare the 13 Pro Max with my Galaxy Z Fold 4, which is right there charging, I find the video quality is superior in my iPhone 13 Pro Max, even when trying to shoot with the same settings. Camera, obviously, I prefer the iPhone. And coming to the slider here, this is a really good feature, and I'm really happy that Apple is still sticking with it, because this toggle right here, you can make it silent with just one switch. You don't have to go to your phone, bring down the notification panel, then like click on silent or something like that. It's just like one flip of the switch and that's it. So I'm really happy about that it's there, so that whenever I'm at work, whenever I am in a meeting or something, I can just flick this and not be disturbed. When I'm out and about, I need this to ring, I can just flick it back and I'm all sorted. So that's a really useful thing that is still here. Coming to the Face ID, the Face ID is outstanding compared to any facial recognition like scanning in any other phone, because it cannot be spoofed. The only time it can be spoofed is if you have some identical twin, then yeah, it will recognize it as you, but you cannot use a photo or a video in front of the Face ID and it's not gonna unlock. In terms of Samsung or any other phone that has the Face ID scanning feature, you can spoof it with a photo or with a video of you from another phone and it will unlock. The Face ID on iPhone, you can't spoof it like that, and that has been my experience. I did test this out a couple of years ago as well. Coming to the haptic feedback on the iPhone, it is phenomenal. Obviously, Samsung has improved over the years, but still, something about the iPhone's haptic feedback is amazing. Like, I've been daily driving this phone 100% with the case because I have to return this phone to get the iPhone 14 Pro, which is in pre-order and it's gonna arrive tomorrow. But this is amazing. The reception that I get on my iPhone 13 Pro Max is better than the reception that I get in the Z Fold 4 or any of the Android phones. A Nothing phone, iPhone reception is still better, obviously using the same SIM card. 5G strength is better in the iPhone. When I was testing the 5G speed in the Nothing phone, there was like a hiccup that I experienced, but I was able to go to the settings and fix it, and I was able to get like higher 5G speeds in the Nothing phone, which was a shocker to me because that was a mid-range phone and this is like a flagship phone. Even then, this is not a bad phone for 5G speeds. Obviously, you don't get millimeter wave here in Australia with the iPhones that you purchase from the Apple Store or the ones that you get on plans from different different carriers, but it's not bad. And depending on the plan that you might get, your 5G speeds might be capped, but it's a really good phone. I have had like amazing experience with it. Obviously, the big thing for me here is iMessage, because a lot of my friends use iPhone and all of the messages history gets backed up in the iMessage using the iCloud. I never lose anything. I can always search for messages and go years and years back just because it's like backed up. I can't say the same for the Android, because in the past when I was primarily using only Android, every time I used to switch phones, my messages would be lost in the old phone unless I took a dump of all the messages out in a zip or something and then like had a backup on my email or Google Drive or something like that. That was the only way, and it required effort. In the case of iPhone, there's no effort. Every messages that you're sending using iMessage, it backs up automatically in iCloud, and whenever you switch to a new iPhone, then it automatically restores it in the Messages app. So that's pretty convenient. Sadly, that's something that we don't get with Android, but it would be good that there was cross compatibility so that every messages that was backed up into the iCloud, if you switch from iPhone to Android, you had the ability to choose to download it or restore it all. That would have been better, but sadly, I don't know if we're ever going to get there. All in all, iPhone to iPhone, it's pretty amazing experience. The whole ecosystem is amazing because, for example, right, like I have the AirPods Pro here. So whenever I am on my iPhone and I put the earphones on, it automatically connects. I don't have to go to Bluetooth settings or I don't have to do anything like that. It automatically recognizes and connects. And for example, if I'm moving to my MacBook because I have to attend a Zoom meeting, as soon as I launch the meeting, my AirPods Pro automatically switches to my MacBook because it recognizes that, I'm attending a meeting there. And as soon as I'm done with the meeting and I hit play on a song on my iPhone, the AirPods Pro, which is on my ear, it automatically recognizes that I'm playing a song on my iPhone and it switches back. So there is no effort. I don't have to play around with Bluetooth to try to connect and switch between devices. There's no pain point in there. Sadly, for any other non-Apple ecosystem devices, you get that pain point. For example, if I have the Samsung Buds in my ear and I'm listening to music on my Z Fold 4, obviously it's going to play there. But for example, if I'm on a Windows computer or something and I'm attending the meeting, it doesn't connect automatically to the Windows speaker. It doesn't switch. I would have to manually intervene to ensure that the output and the input be my Samsung Buds. Because of all this reason, like my experience has been amazing. And if you are an iPhone user and say you haven't had the iPhone 13 or iPhone 13 Pro or the Pro Max, say you're on iPhone 11 or 12, then I would recommend you can get iPhone 13 Pro or iPhone 13 Pro Max at a really sweet deal. And you're not going to notice any difference comparing the iPhone 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Max to iPhone 14 and 14 Plus. Obviously, there are some changes with the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Max. If you're on iPhone 10, 11, then if you want to save but still be in the iPhone realm, go with the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. You're going to save money. If you are someone who really wants to have the high-end thing available, then you can switch to the iPhone 14 Pro or the 14 Pro Max. That's your choice. Even with the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, there's minor improvement in the display. Obviously, the dynamic island feature exists there. It has higher brightness compared to the predecessors, but that should not be something that you consider to spend the extra dollar, would be my say in it. But the reason I'm going to get the iPhone 14 Pro Max is I have a plan with one of the carriers where I can trade this device in and get the latest one, and I can experience the latest one. I can review it, give my feedback, and you daily drive it. So just for that reason, I keep changing it. It might not be in the best financial interest of everyone, but because I get what I want, it works for me. In my truest opinion, I would recommend anyone who's on iPhone 10, 11, or 12, if you want to upgrade, do not upgrade to iPhone 14 series. Upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max because you're saving money, you're not losing much. And when the iPhone 15 comes out, maybe then you can consider upgrading to the next one. I'll leave it at that. That's pretty much it. This has been an amazing device for me. It's very reliable. It hasn't let me down. And in my experience, this has been really, really good. Maybe not everyone has had the same experience, but it's very subjective thing. Until next time, peace.